The dad took care of it quite well.
Okay.
I sure do.
Put the one in there.
I see your mug, your water mug.
Yeah.
Very nice. I need, yeah. Okay. Miss Betty, you wanna join us on your mat? You ready?
No.
No?
Yes.
Well, whenever you're ready.
I'm
It's
ready.
perfectly fine.
I'm ready.
Whenever you're ready. Today we are going to start off in a comfortable seat at the top of our mat. I'm going to just turn that down a little bit.
Ooh, okay.
Oh. I don't know.
Can't do the crunch thing
Those
anymore.
old creaky bones.
Those things are gone.
Am I really laughing?
Be good, B.
Okay, so today, I had in mind a 30-minute session. We may go a little longer than that if you are pressed for time. Anywhere we are, you feel free if you have to get up and leave, but we may go 40 minutes, okay? So we're at the top of our mat, and be mindful of, we sort of get into a habit of the way we cross our legs, so we're going to recross them, but if you've got sort of right foot in front, we'll switch it up a little later. But while you're at the top of your mat, rest your hands wherever comfortable. They can be on the knees, in your lap. If it makes sense to you at this point, you can close the eyes and let's just take some time to come to the breath. And here we'll try to do deep breathing where we make the inhales about the same length as the exhales. We want to get away from the shallow breathing, but do the more deeper breathing. And if you like, you can put one hand to the belly, one hand to the chest as you breathe. And we want to feel sort of the belly expand on those inhales. And then it goes in, belly button is going in as we exhale. A few more deep breaths here. And we can bring hands back to the knees. Let's do a couple side bends before we get started, and just drop the right hand along the right hip. You can raise the left arm, and then we'll just do a gentle bend to the right. Use that right hand for stability. You should feel a stretch along the left side of the body of the obliques. Don't go too far. This should be comfortable. So just stop if you start to feel any pain or the stretch is too intense. And let's come back to center. You can rest hands on palm, on knees. Deep breath here. And left hand is outside of hip. Right arm goes up. And gentle stretch to the left. You can have a bend in the left elbow, but again, use that hand for stability, almost like a kickstand. And again, you'll feel the stretch in the right side. Another breath, and come to center. 2 deep breaths here at center, and we'll do that one more time. Right hand is by right hip, left hand goes up, side bend. Using the right hand for stability, not too deep. And you may feel a stretch in the hip flexors as well. Back to center. Left hand by left hip on the floor, on the ground. Right arm reaches up. Inhale and exhale to side bend. And an inhale takes us back to center. A couple more breaths here. Center. We'll do one more seated pose, and this pose is more of a twist. We've done this one before. On an inhale, you have right arm again, but now it's a little bit behind right hip. Left hand reaches over to right knee, and now we're into a gentle side twist. You want to try and keep the head in line with the spine, looking over the shoulder if that's accessible. Couple more breaths here in the twist, and then we're back to center. Deep breath in, deep breath out, deep breath in, deep breath out. On an inhale, left hand finds a space behind left hip. Right hand reaches over to left knee. And again, a gentle stretch, head over spine. Gaze is over the left shoulder. Hold here. If you have space, you can twist a little deeper on your exhale, but holding here is fine. 2 more breaths will take us back to center. So we're going to do a little core work. Usually I save this for the end. I know we're all tired by the end. So let's get into our boat pose. And we do that by shifting the weight just a little bit back on the sit bones. And I don't think I've cued this, but I know I've said with boat, you can keep your heels on the floor, on the ground. You can also do a supported boat and have hands behind the thighs. Or you can come into a full boat where you have those calves or shins parallel to the floor. Palms are facing up. The core is helping you in this position, so you want to suck belly button into spine. Keep the core engaged, and then let your boat back down. Couple breaths here in neutral position. And then we'll do a few high boat, low boats. Rest, and then we'll come into standing. Another breath here. On an inhale, back into the boat pose that's most comfortable for you. And then we'll do a low boat. Wherever you are, with heels on ground, you can still do low boat. Chest raises back up for high boat. And then back down, low boat. Inhale for high boat. Exhale for low boat, and let's take it all the way to the ground and rest. Your lower back shoulder blades, shoulders making contact with the ground. Palms can be up. But let's take a moment here to catch our breath, to remember that our practice is really about connecting our breath to our movement, and at any time, feel free to take a resting pose, feel free to come into child's pose, and reconnect with your breath, and join us at any time. Okay. When you're ready, we're going to sit up, still on our mat, legs front. And we're just going to work on a hamstring stretch. So you want to go ahead and just raise your arms up, and we'll fall forward, grabbing whatever's in reach. That can be the calves. You can grab ankles. You can grab big toe and taking a bind. And you want to make sure you're just not going too far. but far enough that you feel a stretch in your hamstrings. Grabbing anywhere you can, even if it's your pants leg. And then let's all meet back down on our mat for a couple breaths. Let's all take an inhale together and exhale through the nose. On an inhale, we are again in the staff seated position. Arms are overhead. You can flex the feet and then fall forward wherever hands may land. Shins, ankles. If it's comfortable, you can keep a bend in the ankle. If it makes that stretch a little more reachable, you can grab toes and take the bind. Couple breaths here in this posture. And then in a couple breaths, we'll all meet on the belly. We're doing a little more mat work before we rinse to standing. Just rest here. We're going to do a locust pose. I believe this is the first time I'm cueing this pose. But a locust pose is used to strengthen the spine, glutes, and abs, and it's kind of an introduction to any back bend. So if you are comfortable, you can meet us on the belly. You want arms by side, and your feet are untucked, so the top of the feet are resting on the mat. You want feet untucked. And for a locust pose, we're going to lift the front of the chest. We're going to lift the arms, backs of the legs and the feet, so you are supported by the pelvis area and lower abs. Okay, so the locust pose, you're bringing up or lifting the chest as in cobra, but along with that, you're also lifting the arms and the legs. And you can keep the legs together. You can have a little space between the legs, but again, you're being held in place, or your stability comes from the lower belly and pelvis region. We'll hold this for 2 more breaths, and then we'll meet again face down on the mat. And we'll do locust 2 more times before we rise to standing. On your next inhale, the chest comes up, arms are up, legs off the ground. If possible, thighs off the ground. You're squeezing into the glute muscles. And we're going to hold for 3 more breaths. Toes can be pointed, palms are facing up. And then we're back down. One more locust pose on an inhale. Raise up everything, chest, arms, feet, ankles, legs. A couple breaths here. And then we'll meet in child's pose. And again, in child's pose, take what's comfortable for you. Knees can be spread apart for child's pose or together. You can have arms along the legs. Or if there's another resting pose that you find more accessible, you can take that as well. breaths here in child's pose before we come into our downward dog pose. On your next inhale, find your way to downward dog. You can start out in table or plank. Hands are under shoulders. Fingertips are gripping or pressing into the mat. And we're in sort of that upside down V shape for downward dog. Here, find to have slight bend in the knees. Go ahead and pedal it out. You'll feel a stretch in the calf muscles. The head hangs heavy. You don't want any tension there. I'm trying to hold it in place. Here, you can also turn your head from side to side, as in yes or no, up or down. And when you're ready, come to neutral downward dog. And we're going to walk feet to meet hands and meet at the top of our mat. In a forward fold or ragdoll pose. Here we can just swing from side to side. Again, the head is heavy, no tension there. You can grab opposite elbows and continue swinging side to side. And if you have the bind on elbows, you can let hands drop. And again, we're going to do a slight twist. So put your weight in that right foot, slight bend in the left knee.
Is that my phone or Crystal's?
Left hand is down. And let your right arm go to ceiling. And we're doing a twist here. Your gaze is to the side, or the gaze can be up to the hand. Couple breaths in this pose. And release the hand back to the floor. Wash it all out. And we'll do the other side. Right hand is grounded or just hanging. Left hand goes up to the sky. Gaze follows if that's comfortable, or gaze can be down at your feet, along the side, or gaze can follow the hand. One more breath, and on an exhale, release the hand to the ground. On an inhale is halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. On an inhale, we rise to standing. Arms are all the way up. And exhale, hands to prayer. Inhale, arms up to the ceiling. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale for halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. We'll take this 2 more times. Inhale to standing, arms are up. Exhale, hands to prayer. Inhale, arms circle up. Exhale, fall forward. Couple breaths here. One more, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale brings us up to standing, and palms are at prayer. Let's take a couple breaths here at prayer. Inhale, arms up, fold forward, and we will meet belly on the mat. We have one flow to do, includes some warrior 1 and 2 postures. I will cue a chaturanga or vinyasa, but feel free to meet us at the top of the mat in a standing pose. If you want to take the vinyasa or the chaturanga, we were going to rise to baby cobra or full cobra or upward dog. You can take that pose to downward dog, or you can again just meet us at the top of the mat. We'll walk forward. You bend forward at the front of your mat. Halfway lift on an inhale. Fall forward on an exhale. We'll hang here in this ragdoll pose. And an inhale brings your arms all the way up. Hands to prayer. And here we'll start our first flow. We'll get into a warrior 1 pose, and from this point or position, you can get into that warrior 1 pose by taking left foot to the back of your mat, if that's comfortable, or 2/3 of the way. You're at a 45-degree angle. Right leg bends. When you're comfortable with your footing, arms can go overhead for warrior 1. Again, we don't want to extend the knee, so the knee should be tracking with the second, somewhere with the toes, second, third toe, but definitely when you look down, you want to see the toes. You don't want to be here, you want to see the toes. The thigh is parallel. You're trying to square the hips to the front. They will not be fully squared, but we want to make an effort to have a slight twist. Arms are overhead, strong arms. And from warrior 1, we'll go to warrior 2. The legs can stay as they are. You may need to get the back foot a little more parallel, but the arms are to a T. Again, don't lose the bend in the front knee. Buttocks are somewhat tucked. Remember, core is engaged, and your gaze is off the second or third finger. Again, if it's comfortable for you, you can have eyes closed and really get into that moving meditation. From here, we're going to take triangle pose. I think this may be the first time I've cued triangle pose, but in triangle pose, you want to start by straightening the front knee, front leg. Think about the sides of a triangle. Then you want to start to hinge forward and let the right arm fall in line with the leg. You don't need to go too far for this pose. Left arm goes up. You're trying to make, it won't be quite a straight line, but you're trying to have a nice line from left arm to right arm. There's a twist you'll feel in the side body. Gaze can be down at your right foot, or gaze can be up at your left hand. Then again, this is our triangle pose, and we'll come back to this on the left-hand side. Let's take one more breath here and triangle, and then we'll cartwheel hands down, meeting at the front of our mat. Feel free to take a vinyasa here. And when you've had your vinyasa, you can meet us in a forward fold at the front of the mat. When you're ready, there's a halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Arms are overhead. And again, hands come to prayer. And we'll take that series, that flow on the left side. And so here we have right foot reaching to the back of our mat, 45-degree angle. The left foot is bending out in front. Again, remembering not to overextend. You want to feel a little twist in the waist because you're trying to square the hips to the front. You don't want any pain in that knee that's forward. When you feel stable and you're ready, arms are overhead. And we'll stay here in our warrior one position. Remember, always working on the core, so try and pull belly in, but don't let it restrict your breathing. Okay, so we're trying to really just grab onto those muscles, but we should still be able to breathe easily. Don't forget to breathe. On an exhale, we're in warrior two. Again, you may have to adjust that right foot. Mine becomes a little more parallel in warrior two. Front leg is still bending. Couple breath here. Arms are strong in that T position. Eyes are gazing off the fingertips. If you have eyes open. Couple more breaths, and we'll move into triangle. So straighten the front leg, the left leg. When you feel stable, you're going to hinge forward first, and then let the arm drop wherever it may be, to somewhere on the shin, the calf. You may be to an ankle. Sometimes blocks are useful. Right arm reaches up, right arm is strong. And we should feel a line there. As far as the body, the back of the body, you want to feel as if you're leaning against a wall. And that's why I say we try to tuck the tailbone, and we don't want to be falling forward. We want to have arms straight. If comfortable, you can have a little bend in that left knee. Couple more breaths in triangle. And then we're going to meet on the belly. On the belly, or child's pose, table pose. You can take a couple cat-cows here. We didn't do that earlier, so a couple cat-cows may feel comfortable. Or you can stay in child's pose. I've got a couple more standing positions before our Savasana. So when you're ready, let's meet at the top of the mat. A couple more breaths, take you there. Take a drink of water. Go ahead and stay in child's pose. When you're ready, we'll meet in a forward fold, top of the mat. So I've been introducing a couple new poses today. Triangle is new, and we're about to do a chair pose. So in chair pose, we can have two positions with the feet. I see most of you have your feet parallel. You can do that where feet are hips width apart. Sometimes you can have big toes together. If you have big toes together, you want some space between the heels. And what we're going to do, come up into our chair pose. We're just going to sit back, arms go overhead, and we're bending the knees as if we're sitting in a chair. Go as low as you can without feeling any strain or pain. Again, try and pull in the core. Neck or head should be in line with arms. Couple more breaths here. Let's take our hands to prayer, and we're going to do a side twist to the right, bringing the elbow to the thigh or outside the thigh, and gaze is to the right. So wherever is comfortable. We're doing a little side twist in our chair pose. If you have any knee pain, you want to get out of chair pose and just do a forward fold. One more breath here, and then we're back to neutral chair. On an inhale, hands are back to prayer, and left twist. Elbow is on left thigh or just past left thigh. Gaze is up. Deep breaths here. We're back in chair, neutral chair, then fold forward. Remember, let's get back to the breath. These postures don't look very demanding from the outside, but they are strengthening poses, stability poses. And so we do need to come back to the breath to make sure we can finish our practice. Stay with me. We have a couple more poses for stability, and then we're back in Savasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. And inhale brings you all the way up. And here we visited tree before, and so I mentioned you can have hands at prayer. With the foot, you can lead. We'll start with right foot. You want to put that weight in the left foot. Right foot can go to just the ankle. If possible, you can bring right foot to the shin. We don't want to have a pressure against the knee, but if you are able, the foot can go against the thigh as well. I usually stay somewhere around shin and ankle. Couple breaths here. Again, in these balancing poses, it helps to fix your gaze on something not moving. To steady you. Oh, you guys look good. Let's release, shake it all out. And we'll take tree on the left side. Okay, weight is in the right foot. Left foot finds your foot position either at the ankle, shin, if you can go all the way up. Arms are overhead, or whichever way you can take them into prayer. Gaze is steady on something not moving. And let's find some stillness. One more breath. And let's release. Great. We're going to do a across the body or across the midline stability pose. That'll be our last standing pose. So here, let's put right arm up. We're going to take left hand and grab right knee. So we're going to bend in that right knee. This is one of those concentration poses. We're reaching across the midline. We're doing something different. Right hand is up. And flexing the foot is sometimes helpful in keeping the balance. 2 more breaths. And let it all out. Shake it out, 1 more side. Balancing on that right foot. Weight is here. Left arm is up. Right hand grabs left knee. Flex the foot. Gaze is somewhere, something steady. Don't look outside at any of the birds. Look at something steady. 2 more breaths in this pose. And let's shake it out. Arms are up. Let's right hand grab left wrist and take a side bend. We didn't do that earlier. Just take a side bend. Inhale brings you back to center. Grab opposite wrist and side bend on the opposite side. Come back to center. Arms are reaching up to the sky. Gentle back bend here. Inhale, exhale brings you all the way down. Halfway lift. And then onto your mat. Let's find Savasana. Lay back in a position that's comfortable. Sometimes that can be bound diamond, where the bottoms of the feet are touching. If that's comfortable for you, sometimes it helps to put the fist under the thighs for support. You can have legs straight, palms are facing up. You can have one hand on the belly and one on the chest as we started class. And feel the breath calm down. Heart rate should be coming down. If you need a drink of water before starting Savasana, please do so. Let's just take this moment and give our bodies some appreciation for what we just accomplished. Appreciate that we even made it to our mat this afternoon. Release any tension in the brow or in the jaw. Melt into the floor. Start to move the head side to side gently. You can open and close the hands. Move the ankles around. You can put arms overhead and take a full body stretch. When you're ready, you can come to your favorite side in a fetal position, and you're welcome to stay in Savasana. And in a couple breaths, we'll meet in a seated position at the top of the mat. Breaths here. Hands are at prayer. I thank each and every one of you for joining me today, allowing me to be your guide in your practice. I welcome your feedback as I journey through my teacher training. I hope you're able to take your yoga with you off the mat as you finish the rest of your day. Namaste.
Namaste.
Let's see what we did today.